Boom shakalaka, what is going on everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's episode, we are talking about how Bitcoin is actually having two halvings this year. Unprecedented two halvings this year. And could this mean that we could see $1 million Bitcoin by the end of the year? Alright, what is up everybody? Randall here. Now today's episode, we are talking about Bitcoin's two halvings in 2020. Now, Bitcoin's had halvings before, had a halving back in 2016, another halving in 2012, where the block reward decreased by half. But Bitcoin actually this year has two halvings. Now, you may be saying, Randall, what are you talking about? Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about. The one halving that everybody knows about is coming up in the middle of May 2020. Everyone's looking forward to that. But the second halving actually kind of just snuck in if you guys weren't watching. It happened down here at the bottom. So what is the second halving? Well, in case you have not heard, the White House, the Fed, has proposed a $6 trillion stimulus package. That's six with a lot of zeros. So announced in a press conference on March 24th, White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow believes the United States government's stimulus package will come to roughly $6 trillion. Reports indicate 2 million of the sum will be passed directly to businesses and individuals, and the rest is a remainder for the Federal Reserve. Now, just to give you an idea what $6 trillion is, that's the same as a third of America's GDP. That's the same as 130% of the Fed's balance sheet. That's the same as enough money for $850 for every human being on Earth. Or that's the same as owning 900 million Bitcoin. But there's not that many. There's only 21 million. Now, I know a lot of you, this number is beyond your capability for comprehending it, and you're saying, well, why does this even matter? Well, if we take a look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, right now, they have it at $4.6 trillion. Well, guess what? They're going to be injecting $6 trillion on top of that. So right now, they're more than doubling their balance sheet right now, which is technically like a halving. Okay? Now, furthermore, if we take a look at what happened, obviously we haven't had the Fed double their balance sheet before any time, because here it kind of grew. We saw what happened back there in 2008 with some funny stuff, interest rates decreasing. But really, to give us an idea of what will happen with this, we have to kind of look back into history. So the last time, at least for US dollars, when there was something that had this big of an effect on the purchasing power of currency was back in 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard at Bretton Woods. So if we take a look at 1971 and we go a few years later, the purchasing power according to this chart was 30 cents there. A few years later, it's down to 20 cents. It halves. Down to 15 cents even. It halves. Okay, if we take a look versus gold, because everybody says Bitcoin is virtual gold. So 71, right around here where the mouse is, there was the purchasing power then, around 500. And then we take a look a decade later, about 50. So we see a 10-time increase in a decade versus gold. But you see, gold is an inflationary currency. There's more mined every single year. So we have to look at Bitcoin. Now, everybody with this halving is expecting Bitcoin to follow the stock-to-flow model because this takes a look at simple economics, supply versus demand. Well, if it were to follow that, because we're halving the supply, if demand remains the same, we would be looking at $100,000 Bitcoin. But now we have just doubled the amount of purchasing power, the amount of money available, the amount of dollars. So because of that, is it possible we could see $1 million Bitcoin this year, like what McAfee predicted in 280 days? In case you guys didn't know this, he said that he'll see a $500,000 by the end of 2020, $500,000 Bitcoin, and he then went on to say $1 million Bitcoin by the end of 2020. Now he's, shirking back saying he's not going to do it, but there's still 280 days, and based on simple economics, supply and demand, and then doubling the money supply, it's very likely we could see this. So let me know what you think down in the comments. I would love to know. And then I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.